Believe it or not, this, what you're looking at right now, is not the entire frame of the shot. This is the entire frame, which means I can crop this however I want. For long form at 16:9 or for short form at 9:16. It's maximum level of control for multi-platform deliverables, and it is a big feature on the new Canon R6 Mark III. Let's get into it. Okay, just for clarification, for the remainder of this video, or the majority of it, I'm filming this on my Canon R5, and that's because I wanted to be able to hold this thing while I'm talking about it and show you the menu systems. That, and if I recorded a long form, all in Open Gate at 7K resolution, I'm gonna eat up a lot of hard drive space for one video where I'm really only demoing it a couple of times. All right, do me a favor before I start. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'm here talking photography and cameras every week, and I'd love to have you back again. Plus, you know, it's a really cool thing to do, and it helps small channels like this grow and reach more people. Okay, everyone's been talking about the Canon R6 Mark III, the 40 frames per second, the autofocus, the resolution bump, all great features, right? This camera is really awesome. But if you shoot any video at all, there are two features on this camera that I think matter just as much. I'm talking about Open Gate and Canon Log 2. And not just because they're new shiny things, but because I think they actually solve real problems. Specifically, the problem of needing to deliver both horizontal and vertical from the same shoot. And the problem of not wanting your footage to look like it came from a still photo camera. So I've had this thing on loan from B&H for a couple of weeks now, and I want to walk you through how I'm actually using these two features, how to set them up, what I think about them, and a quick look at what grading Canon Log 2 looks like in DaVinci Resolve. Because honestly, this is the stuff that would make me buy this camera. So let's start with Open Gate, because I think a lot of people heard Open Gate in the announcement and kind of nodded along without really thinking about what that means for their work. So here's the deal. When you shoot normal video on this camera, or any camera for that matter, you're recording in 16:9. And that means you're using a horizontal slice of your camera's sensor. The top and the bottom of the sensor are sort of just sitting there, unused, kind of like wasted real estate. Open Gate changes that entirely. It uses the full 3:2 sensor area. It's the same aspect ratio as a still photo would be, except to record video on. So instead of a wide rectangle, you're getting a taller frame. It's 7K resolution, 6960 by 4640 in RAW, or 6912 by 4608 in the compressed MP4 codec. Now, why does that matter exactly? Because if you're creating content in 2026, you're likely not delivering for one aspect ratio. You need a 16:9 for YouTube. You need a 9:16 for Reels, TikTok, Shorts, whatever. Maybe a 4:5 for feed posts. Maybe a 1:1. With a normal 16:9 recording, pulling a vertical crop for short form means you're taking a tiny sliver out of the middle of your frame, and it's probably not ever gonna look quite right. At least not like it would if you just turned the camera on its side and shot the whole thing vertical to begin with. With Open Gate, you have so much more image data vertically that you can pull a full 4K vertical crop from that 7K 3:2 frame. And the math actually works out. You're really not compromising. You're just choosing what part of the image you want to use from the sensor. For anyone running a studio or shooting content for clients who need deliverables in multiple formats, this alone might be worth the price of admission. It's one take, multiple deliverables, and no quality loss. That's pretty huge. All right, let me show you how to actually turn this thing on in the Canon menus, because Canon menus can be Canon menus. First, make sure you're in video mode. That's this little switch right on top of the camera. Flip from still to movie and you're good to go. All the menu systems are gonna change and you're gonna see everything I'm about to talk about. Then you're gonna wanna go into the red shooting menu. This is the video recording settings. You're looking for Open Gate. It should be the first of the red tabs if you're in video mode. Select it, turn it on, and that's it. Now here's what you need to know. When you flip Open Gate on, your resolution is locked to 7K, and your frame rate maxes out at 29.97. You can't do 60p in Open Gate, you can't do 120p, it's 30p or below. And the other thing, and this is important, your codec options in Open Gate are either Canon RAW Lite, which records as a CRM file to your CF Express card, or XF HEVC, which is the H.265 long GOP compressed codec. You cannot shoot Open Gate in H.264 or an intra-frame compression. So if intra-frame is a deal breaker for your workflow, Open Gate and Intra don't live in the same house, so just be aware of that. Now, I'd also recommend turning on the aspect markers. Once you're in Open Gate, go to your aspect marker settings and you can overlay guides, 16:9, 9:16, 4:5, whatever you need. And that's in the second to last red tab and it's labeled Shooting Info Display. Open that and scroll down to aspect marker setting. It gives you two options to display at one time, so I went with 9:16 and 16:9. That way when you're framing your shot, you can see exactly where your horizontal and vertical safe areas are. You're literally composing for both deliverables simultaneously. And that to me is a game changer. This is a pro tip that I picked up too. Save your Open Gate setup as a custom shooting mode on C1, C2, or C3. That way you can just flip the shooting mode and you're in Open Gate setup without having to redo all your settings every time. I wanna say this video is brought to you by the DaVinci Creator Workflow System V2. It's the 5-star editing system creators are using to save hours every week making content. You get preset timelines for every social media platform, organized project bins, and built-in mini effects that help your content finally feel consistent and faster to crank out. Hundreds of creators are already using it, and the link's down below if you're ready to edit smarter, not harder. Okay, now let's talk about log, because this is where the R6 III became a very different camera than the Mark II. The R6 Mark II had only Canon Log III, which is fine. It's a good log profile. It gives you decent dynamic range, and it's the easiest Canon log to grade. Most Canon mirrorless shooters have been using, Log 3 for years. But the R6 Mark III adds Canon Log 2. And this is a big deal because Canon Log 2 was previously reserved for their Cinema EOS line. The C70, C300, C400. It's gonna give you more dynamic range than the Log 3, specifically more shadow detail and more latitude overall. Canon actually claims 15 stops range with the Log 2, which is pretty crazy in this camera body. Now here's the trade-off though. Log 2 footage does look flatter. It looks more washed out. The shadows hold more information, but they also hold more noise, so it does demand more from you in post. Log 3 is faster to grade, it's cleaner in the shadows, and for a lot of work, especially quick turnaround stuff, it still might be the smarter choice. But if you're doing anything where you want maximum control over your image, if you're trying to match this camera to Cinema EOS footage, if you're shooting high contrast scenes where you need to cover highlights and shadows, Log 2 is probably what you're gonna want. And having it in a sub $3,000 camera is pretty dang significant to me. Setting it up. This is where Canon actually did something really smart with the R6 III. Unlike older Canon cameras where the log settings were sort of always buried in a separate menu, the R6 III has a new custom picture system, similar to what you'd find in the Cinema EOS cameras. And they gave it a dedicated button too. While you're in video mode, press the color button on the back of your camera. It also says rate on it, and it's on the left side of the viewfinder. That's gonna drop you straight into the custom picture menu. And from here, you'll click the button that says CP, and then info in the bottom left to see all your gamma options. You got C-Log 2, you got C-Log 3, Canon 709, BT 709, HLG, PQ, select Canon Log 2. Now when you select Canon Log 2, the camera pairs it with Cinema Gamut as your color space. This is the widest color gamut that Canon offers. It's way wider than Rec 709, and it gives you the most color data to work with in post. Now, critical step. Turn on View Assist. Go to your shooting menu, find HDR C-Log View Assist in the third to last tab. And make sure that you turn this on for both your screen and your viewfinder. Now what this does is applies a preview LUT to your LCD and EVF to show you an approximation of what the graded image is gonna look like rather than flat, gray, washed out log footage. The recorded file stays log, but what you're seeing is way more capable of being judged as far as exposure and everything else. Now while you're at it, go ahead and turn on your waveform monitor and your zebras. The R6 III now has waveform display, which is another Cinema EOS trickle-down feature, and it makes exposing your log footage so much more reliable. For Canon Log 2, you want your base ISO at 800. That's the native base. ISO 6400 is the second base ISO if you need a little bit more sensitivity in low light. Okay, let's apply some color to this footage so that we can see what it's looking like. We just want to see the footage, not a full breakdown on color grading. Here's the before and here's the after. And here's where the Open Gate ties back in. Watch this. Here's my full Open Gate frame, 3x2. Now here's my 16:9 horizontal crop for YouTube. It's full 4K, looks great. And here, same exact clip, here's my 9x16 vertical crop for Reels. Also full quality, no reshoot, no second camera. It's one recording, 2 deliverables, and I'm done. Okay, so here's what I think after a couple weeks with this camera. Open Gate works. It's not revolutionary technology, it's just Canon finally using the full sensor for video, which I think they should have done a long time ago. The 30p limitation is real, and it means this isn't your run and gun everything mode. But for controlled work, talking heads, product shots, B-roll where you know you need both orientations, it's exactly what it should be. Now the overheating thing is worth mentioning too. You will get less continuous recording time in 7K Open Gate than you will in standard 4K. So manage your expectations and your shot list accordingly. Canon Log 2 is the feature that changes the camera's identity for me. The R6 Mark II was a very capable photo camera that could also shoot video. The R6 Mark III with Log 2, cinema gamut, waveform monitoring, the custom picture system, it feels like a hybrid camera that actually takes video pretty darn seriously. The footage coming out of the sensor with Log 2 is honestly pretty impressive. You combine that with the 7K oversampling for 4K, and it might just be some of the best full frame video Canon has put in a non-cinema body. So is this worth upgrading from the Mark II? If you shoot primarily stills, probably not. The photo improvements are really nice, don't get me wrong, but they are incremental. But if video is a meaningful part of your business, if you're delivering content in multiple formats, if you care about color science and grading latitude, these two features alone do make a strong case. Anyway, the camera goes back to B&H soon, and I'm gonna miss it. And that tells you something. I'll probably end up buying one for myself. Okay, I'll link everything down below if you want to check out this camera for yourself. If you have any questions about the setup, drop them in the comments. And if this was useful in any way, you already know what to do. Like and subscribe so we can chat more about cameras and photography again. All right, catch you in the next one.